Yo, what's going on, everybody? KluedaDon, as I already said, Country Fan Mail Podcast. Thank you for tapping in for another exclusive interview with an up and coming artist around the world, where a fan makes a fan, as I like to say. So I ended up bumping into this gentleman on Twitter in the Twitter Spaces. I don't remember who followed who first. I don't know if I followed him, he followed me, but I want to say he might have followed me. He sent me his music. He was like, "Hey man, check me out." I listened to his music. It was really cool. And then a couple weeks later, I believe, maybe about a month later, it kind of went full circle, and I reached out and I was like, "Hey man, I would really want you to come on to the podcast for an interview." And reaching out to him, I didn't even realize that this gentleman was in Kenya. This was my first, Kenyan artist, my first African artist, which is a really, really big deal to the platform, and just to me personally and to the platform. So I think that was extremely, extremely dope. So definitely I listened to his music. He has a really, really, really interesting ear, really interesting voice, and what he's trying to portray. And there was a lot of things that actually caught me by surprise, which we're going to definitely get into in this interview. So with that being said, without further ado, I'd like to introduce this gentleman to the stage. Thank you for coming to the show, Sensical Sense. What's going on, brother?
What's happening? What's happening?
Not much, man. Not much. I think we have a really bad delay. Are you still catching me bad on the delay?
Yeah, I can. Yeah,
Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, man. So yeah, so man, welcome to the show. Like I said, I really appreciate you coming on, man. It's truly a pleasure having you on the show.
thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
For sure, man, for sure. So first question I have to ask you, man. I know right now, so you're in Kenya. So right now it's like 5 o'clock, like it's like 5 p.m., right? Right now?
Yeah, it's five. Yeah, it's 5:15 in
5:15
the 5:15 in the evening.
in the evening. Yeah, that's what's wild. Yeah, so it's like, super early here. It's like 7 in the morning, Cali time. But I still have to ask you,
Oh,
hopefully you remember, what was the first song you listened to when you woke up this morning?
have I listened to music this morning? I don't. I don't think. I don't think I've listened to music this morning. Yeah. I don't
Gotcha.
think I've listened to anything today, actually.
Where what is your typical morning like? Like what is like how is like what is your typical day like actually?
Well, I'm 22 years old. I'm in college.
Mm,
So yeah, so I'm trying to finish college and do my music at the same time.
for sure.
So yeah, so it's just classes, and yeah, like there's nothing much for now. But thankfully, I'm finishing this year so that next year I properly now focus on my music 100%.
What are you in school for?
Business. I do marketing.
Word, business marketing. Okay, all right, that's what's up. That's what's up. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So 22 in school full time. We going to school for business. So like, what was the what was it about music, or what was it about hip hop music that made you want to start making music of your own?
Wow, man, hip hop. The thing about hip hop is that it's not even my favorite genre.
Really,
Because yeah, it's not. It's actually my fourth.
your fourth
Because
favorite genre?
yeah, it's my fourth. Because number one is reggae for me, and number two is funk and funk stroke blues. Three is R&B, then four is hip hop. In Kenya, reggae is huge, huge, huge.
Yeah,
I'm telling
yeah.
you, it's really huge. And I grew up in reggae, so reggae is my favorite. Hip hop is my fourth because when I was 16 is when I started rapping. I was in high school, and but I didn't know I could rap. I initially I was writing poetry when I was in high school.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's really funny
So
that you say that. I literally told my wife that while I was listening to your music, I was like, he sounds like a rapper, but he also sounds like a poet. And I swear I said this to my wife. So it's crazy you said that. You definitely have a poet type of rhyme scheme, and the way that you spit, the way that you rhyme, it sounded like a poet. It sounded like a poem. So yeah, I'm glad you said that, man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because, and you know, the thing about that is that when I was 16, I started writing poetry, but I was like, I mean, like when you recite poems, it's not interesting. You know, there's nothing interesting when you just write poetic lines and you don't, you know, like there's nothing interesting you can do with it. So
Hmm.
when, yeah, so I said maybe if I can put rhythm uh, into these lines,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
sounds more
maybe
interesting.
maybe I can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because rap is RAP, you know, rhythm and poetry. So I was like, what if I can put rhythm into these poetic lines that I've always been writing for? Because I used to write books and books and books of of poetry, you know, just writing them for fun. So when
What would they
I
be about? Like what were your some of your, sorry, not to cut you off, but as far as your
yeah.
poetry, because that's one I don't want to skip over that. When you have something that you're so passionate about, or something that you do so freely, to have books and books and books. Like what was some of your inspirations to write all that poetry, or like, and what were like,
Yeah,
and did some of them have like a consistent theme?
yeah. One of the themes was Pan-Africanism, because for me, and I always say this, I- I'm not you know a rap artist who happens to be African. I'm an African who happens to be you know a rap artist,
Hmm.
because being African is the most important thing that has ever happened to me, and I understand the power of Pan. Actually, when I introduce myself, I normally introduce myself as a Pan African rap artist, because that's how Pan Africanism means to me. You know, I believe in the organization and the unity of all African people globally, because I think it's important for us to read from the same page. And so when I was writing poetry, that was the main theme,
Hmm.
because I've always been an enthusiast of freedom fighters, of even Malcolm, uh, Medgar Evers. I'm a
Hmm.
Gaviite, so I'm a huge Gavi
Word.
enthusiast, and so
Shout out to Marcus Garvey.
yeah. Oh yeah, actually, my birthday was June 10th last week, and June
Happy
10th
belated.
happens to be the day. Yeah, and June 10th happens to be the day that Marcus Garvey left us. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. The
Okay.
Honorable
All
Marcus
right.
Garvey. Yeah, it's
Man,
weird.
that's
I don't even. Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy how that happens. There's this passing of energies. Energy never goes away. It just passes on to the next thing. So
yeah.
that's some real powerful shit, man. I'm loving the openness and the honesty, because, and I'm see that it translates over into your music, because when I hear songs like "Show Some Respect," and you know, I for one, you hear that song, and immediately kind of put me into this, like, almost like this fight the power kind of, like, old school, what was it, not Disturbing the Peace. I'm definitely aging myself. Before that, I'm having a brain fart right now, but it's
Uh,
Flavor Flav, and them, Public
Public
Enemy.
Enemy.
Public Enemy, yes.
Yeah,
Public Enemy, saying that kind of, it really put me in that mindset of, saying that real boom boom bap, like, hey, nah, you need to, like, show me my respect. We got something going on. It's in your face, saying, like, we're not trying to hide anything. And that caught me by surprise, because I've never personally heard and I've never heard anybody who identifies as a Pan African or an African artist have music that was so, like, so I was like, oh wow, like this, what I'm saying, it really kind of, it was like, all right, dang, like, this really, it for one, it showed me that you study hip hop. It showed me that you really did study
Hmm.
hip hop, you know what I'm saying, from way going all the way back to the 70s up till now. And then secondly, then I ended up stumbling upon hip hop ancestors. And then that clearly showed me that you study hip hop because, you know, the whole song was about, you know what I'm saying, those people who were essentially laid down the foundation for us to be here. You know, even as me, you know, I'm not an artist by any sense of the word, music artist, but this is my contribution to the music game, you know what I'm saying, being a publicist or a journalist, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, your music definitely, I say all that to say that your music definitely shows your vernacular for hip hop and how far it has actually reached out to, you know what I'm saying, to the world. Because like when was the first time that you remember hearing hip hop, you know what I'm saying, being from Kenya? Are you originally from Kenya? Actually, I meant to ask that.
Yeah, born and raised in Kenya. I was born in a place called Nakuru. Nakuru is 2.5 or 2 hours away from the nation's capital, Nairobi, which everybody knows.
Yeah. Mm.
So the earliest, you know what, the earliest memory I have of hip hop was when there was a channel called KBC, Kenya Broadcasting Channel, and they used to bring hip hop music. It was like our like there was 1 hour that was set for music from the States and Europe, and so I think I don't know if it's the first, but if I can remember, one of the first hip hop songs I've ever heard was Black Eyed Peas, "Where's the Love." Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
So,
That's a pretty, it's a pretty decent track for the first time. Yeah, Black Eyed Peas, yeah, they were you know, interesting. You know, definitely, you know, they had their own, you know, lane of rap. You know, what I'm saying, very, you know, positive, uplifting kind of. They were for that international scene. I mean, they made music that was very easily translatable to the international masses. So yeah, that's pretty dope. That's and then what year was this? What year was this? You remember?
I think I was two, uh, 4 years old.
Three,
Yeah.
four. Where? Okay, all right. And so you're hearing hip hop for the first time. You're just like, what is this? Because you know, I remember the first time I heard hip hop. I was probably around the same age, maybe a little bit older, because I didn't grow up on hip hop. We grew up on like gospel music and you know, Christian music and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, first time I heard it, I was probably around the same age. I might have even been like 5 or 6 actually. And I heard The Art of Storytelling by Outkast. And then I heard a Jay-Z
Mhm.
song. And I think it was Can't Knock the Hustle by Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige. I think that
Wow.
was one of the first ones I heard. And it just kind of like I'm not that old. I'm only 32. So I only got 10 years on you, man. That ain't that much. But but yeah, it was
Yeah.
just, I remember it just kind of just blew my mind. So like, do you remember actually let me rephrase that question. When you went and told your family that you wanted to start making music, how did they react?
Well, you see, we come from a family of because you know my brother. We are two in our family. I'm the youngest. Uh, my elder brother is an actor, and yeah, and
Sure.
my mom, yeah, and my mom was once uh, a theater actress before she went to banking. So you know, when it comes to the house, it's you know, they don't understand it. You know, they don't understand hip hop because they're from a different era. Because you know, my mom and dad, they listen to rumba music, which is a Congolese music,
Mm.
and you know, they don't know barely anything about hip hop. And I understand that, you know, because they're from a different era.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah. So but when it comes to my brother, you know, he doesn't understand it, but he didn't have a problem with it because he's an actor and his favorite music is rock music. So
Is there a big age
yeah.
difference between you and your brother?
No, 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 no. 3 years older than me. Yeah,
Oh, just 3 years. Got you. Got you. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's interesting. So you have your parents are listening to, and what was the type of music that you said your parents were
Oh,
listening to?
rumba.
Rumba. So they listen to rumba music. Your brother's listening to rock music, and then here comes Sensical Sense blasting all this crazy rap music. And it's crazy because I know, like, when anytime that I play rap music or I've played rap music around people who didn't grow up around it or they didn't grow up, it like they automatically just like, what is this? What? Why is it? Why are they saying this? And what I'm saying, it's always this crazy reaction. It's interesting. Have you been able to perform your music at any type of venues or anything like that or online?
No, I haven't. Because I think it's because of college. College takes a lot of my time.
Yeah,
Uh, but when I finish this year, I'm finishing December. When I
for sure.
finish, when I finish December, that's when I'll start going outside and doing all of that. But when it comes to online, I'm happy where my Instagram is because you know I don't post anything apart from Black history and Pan-Africanism, and
Mm,
people gravitate towards it. And I don't know where I got 40,000 followers within a span of 6 months, but it's because I'm I'm very passionate when it comes to the struggle,
yeah,
and I just want us to succeed, because you see, when it comes to Africa, Kenya has 42 tribes.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
we have Kenya is very diverse when it comes to tribes. We have 42 tribes, and we always have, even till this day, even though nowadays it's covert, we have a lot of tribalism here in Kenya. And I feel bad when I see black people fighting each other because you don't speak the same language that I speak.
Hmm.
It's But especially now, now it's an election period. People are going to vote for general elections in the next 3 months. And So these are the times where tribalism is high, because people are vouching for their candidate and all. So
Yeah,
Kenya is a beautiful place. Let me tell you, Kenyans are one of the most resilient people you'll ever meet. But we have a huge tribalism problem, and it pains me to see this, because I wish we see the bigger picture. Because you see, the thing is that the British have never left this country.
yeah,
They left
yeah.
physically. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They left
That's true.
physically, but they never left mentally and economically, especially economically,
Mm,
because
mm,
they still own. Yeah, it's true, because they still own the important land. They
yeah,
still print our money. We we still belong to the Commonwealth uh, nations, which are headed by the Queen. And I felt so disgusted when I saw Kenyans wishing the Queen a happy whatever jubilee that was happening
yeah. I
last
think it was
week.
like 150 years or something. But yeah,
I was I was so disgusted. It's like, do you know how crazy you have to be to praise your oppressor? The same oppressor who killed our free. There was a
that's a
man
fact.
called Dead. Yeah, yeah. There was a man called Dedan Kimathi. He's our freedom. He's our what? He's like our hero.
Yeah,
He led a group called Mau Mau that fought the British in the 50s, and actually in the 50s. The Queen entered power when in 1952. Dedan Kimathi was murdered in 1957. And so I keep on wondering why Kenyans are praising the same institution that murdered our freedom fighter. I don't
Yeah.
understand that. Yo, the Queen got into power in 1952. We got independence in 1963.
Yeah.
Uh, how can you praise the same person who colonized us? I don't understand it. you know.
Yeah, I mean, I completely, I understand exactly where you're coming from, and this. So this actually makes me formulate another question. So a lot of the things that you're saying really put me into the mindset. You really make me think of people like Fela Kuti and even Bobby Wine, as of saying a lot,
Oh yeah.
the last I'll say 15 years. Um, how important do you feel like it is as a, I'll say, if you want to put a tag on it, they like to say millennials, or or whatever you want to call it. How important do you feel like it is being from this generation and having the platform that you have? Because honestly, I didn't even know that you had 40,000 followers, so that's crazy. That's amazing. So because social media is such a good tool. I know you were like, I didn't plan to do this, but it's such a good tool to be able to get out what you need to get out. So with names like this, who those names are big, saying they're like really really big for whatever reasons, how important is it, do you feel, to constantly use your platform to put out that message? Because you said that you post nothing but Pan-Africanism and that saying that those type of things on your page. um do you feel like you'll ever, actually, I'm gonna stick to the first question. How important is it, do you feel like it is, to use your platform to spread that message?
Yeah. I normally say this: if you're black in this world and you don't speak on your people, you don't speak on what's happening, you don't care about what's happening to your people, you're a waste of oxygen. And people say that's a bit harsh, but I don't even care
Mm,
because we because you cannot be African in this world and not speak on what's happening to us. You know, like you see all these musicians coming up, and they have never said anything. They have never said anything because they fear that I'll lose endorsements. Or I mean, listen, if you are a black person in America, in Europe, even in Asia and in Africa, even in the Caribbean, and you don't speak about what's happening in your surroundings, I mean, you're a waste of oxygen.
mm,
And I feel it's important for me to do this because uh, I feel bad when I see black people using their platforms badly and irresponsibly. You have a person who has 500,000 followers,
mm.
but you don't like say anything constructive. You don't post anything constructive to your community, but you have 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
It's sad. Me. Let me honestly. I just started posting Black History, posting clips from Stokely Carmichael, who's Kwame Ture, clips from the Honorable Marcus Garvey, Brother Malcolm X, Steve Biko, and things that have always been a part of me since I was a child. You
Hmm.
know, the thing about me is that when I got introduced to Pan Africanism, uh, I was I was 18. It was my final year in high school. And oh, by the way, do you know that some of our books are written by Oxford, Oxford, which is in England?
Yep.
So I remember my history book was written by Oxford, and uh, and the topic on Pan Africanism only had, if I can count well, 5 or 6 pages, and they only talked about the Honorable Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Booker T. Washington. They only talked about those three people, and
Those
Marcus
are the
Garvey
only
had
three
only
people.
1 or 2 pages.
Those are the only three people. Those are the only three
Yeah,
panelists.
those are the only. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah.
That's wild.
I was. It wasn't even wild. The wildest thing is that Marcus Garvey had 1 or 2 pages in that book.
And
I was. I mean,
and it's the same in the states. It's the same in the states. I don't want you to think that we get any bit of a better treatment. To be completely honest, I don't even remember a Pan African chapter in my history books. I don't remember that. I had to figure out those things on my own. I had to, because I remember the first time I saw Marcus Garvey, what interested me, and I remember this like it was yesterday because I was a child, and I was just like, "What's up with the hat?" And I was like, "What's up with this black guy wearing this hat? I've never seen black people wear a hat like this. I want to know what this is." So I looked it up, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, "Oh shit, like what is," it was like it opened me up to a whole different world of things. And I ain't gonna lie. I wish that my inner house was a little bit more I wish that we were more aware. I wish that we were more aware because I think that there was a lot of things that were happening and a lot of lessons that could have been taught that I didn't realize until I was older. You know what I'm saying? You said it, you the same way. You said you didn't really kind of start realizing until your last year of high school, which kind of was a little bit of the same for me too, actually. There's a lot of things that I didn't start realizing until I got older. Um, but it's really interesting. It's just
yeah,
really
and
interesting kind
actually,
of how that works. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, and let me just finish on my previous point. So I just became so offended about that. But the thing about it is that my history teacher was uh, was a bit passionate on that topic because even though it was 5 or 6 pages, he expounded more on Marcus Garvey and on W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, and
Hmm.
because and I'm so grateful he did that because I know some teachers would have just passed, like they would have just finished the chapter
Only taught
quickly
what was
so
in
they
the
can move
chapter.
to
Yeah.
another chapter because
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, but he took his time, and I appreciate that, but I was still dissatisfied. So when I went home and I started learning, I started watching documentaries of Dr. John Henry Clark. When I started watching Malcolm X's clips, even Marcus Garvey's speech and his documentaries, when I started studying Dr. Claude Anderson, the late Dr. Francis Cresswell, and like these people, I was like, wow, there's more into this, and that's when the passion of Pan Africanism grew. So yeah, and actually, and even in Africa, scholars like Dr. PLO Lumumba and Dr. Arikana Chiwombori from Zimbabwe. I mean, I said that this cannot be the finality of Pan-Africanism. You understand me? That Pan-Africanism can only be summed up into 6 pages. That's a
Yeah.
lie. So I had to take an initiative to detoxify my mind from the lies that has been told to me for the
Yeah.
past 18 years. I had to detoxify it when I was 18. So it was important for me to do that. No one taught me. The school never taught me. The school never taught me
Mhm.
how to invest, and listen, even now when I'm in college, uh, I do business, I do marketing. Yeah.
Yeah.
They up to now, the college hasn't taught me how to read and how to analyze the stock market, how to analyze real estate, and I'm like, then what am I doing here? You understand? And the thing about the education system is that they never teach you the essentials. They never teach you the things that will build wealth and generational wealth. They just want to teach you about some white scholar who made a certain theory and you have to master this theory before the
Mhm.
next exam comes. And I'm like, nah.
Yeah,
So
we were just
so
talking.
yeah,
I was just
yeah.
talking to my wife about that, about school and the things that they teach and the things that they don't teach, the things that they should teach. You know, like how to balance a checkbook and how to do your taxes and how to, how to, and even tax law and little, things like that. Like, why is there not a course? Why is there not a whole class about taxes? Not just doing your taxes, the bare minimum, but tax law, how to understand the difference in how to, business tax and all, what I'm saying? Like just all these different things they could be doing that they don't do. And or they don't do it in the schools that are widely access and accessible to everybody, because somebody's learning it, somebody's teaching it. It's just not being taught to everybody. And you know, throughout everything that you're saying, one thing that really stands out to me, and this might be something that hopefully you can debunk for me, you kept saying black. And
Hmm.
I've always been under the understanding that there are a lot of people in Africa who don't associate their blackness. They don't say black because they believe that when you say black, you're referring to us that are here in America. That were,
Uh-huh.
saying that are for whatever reason, for however reason, wherever port we came into, just us that are here in America. So and because it was kind of like understood to me that, like, some Africans really just don't like black people because we're so far removed from our roots, essentially. So is that so I guess my question is that just a fallacy? Is that something that I've been completely ignorant on, and just, misunderstanding, or are there people actually like that, as far as African people who don't associate themselves with us, with the lost ones?
Well, yeah, I can say this that we have a disconnect. I can understand that. We truly have a disconnect. And we need to bridge that disconnect because we are all Africans. And whether and I speak to some of African Americans, and they tell me, "Oh, you see, I'm not an African because I'm 5% Native American, and I'm also 10% Portuguese, and also okay, listen, I can pluck you from America. I can take you to Kenya, where I am right now, and I can show you uh, thousands of people who have the same shape of nose, same skin tone, same shape of lips, and there is nothing about you that screams Portuguese or that screams any other thing. The only thing that it screams is that you're an African, and you need to be proud to be an African because there's nothing bad about being from the land that God put the first man and the first woman
Mm,
to grace this earth. I mean, Africa is the cradle of mankind, the mother and father of all religions, the mother and father of all civilization. It's the richest continent in the world. I mean, black people are the first people to grace this earth. Well,
yeah.
Africans are the first people to grace this earth. And the reason why I say black is because of the term that we label ourselves. We can call ourselves black. We can call ourselves Africans. At the end of the day, we can call ourselves anything you can call yourself anything you want. But at the end of the day, you're an African, and being an African is a blessing. And I normally say this that what like how can you be ashamed of coming from a continent that birthed humanity and that birthed civilization and that birthed religion and is the richest continent in the world? Because if Africa shuts down today, everything shuts down in the world.
Mm.
If Africa shuts down today, is the whole world goes to a recession.
And I think there's
And
a lot of
so I keep on
ignorance.
telling people that,
It's just a lot of ignorance. I
yeah,
feel like so many people don't understand, because just as we talked about before, those things that we need to know about Africa, even the size, even down to the size of Africa, is not correctly taught. in schools. We're not taught actually how big Africa is. When we see maps, those maps are not accurate depictions of how large of a landmass Africa actually covers. So we see things like they make the
Yes.
United States very big, and they'll have Alaska on the tip of on the beside of Canada, looking like if you put Alaska in the middle of Africa on that same map, it'll take up majority of the space. How the fuck does that make sense? But excuse my language. How the hell does that make sense? But so, um, so I guess ultimately I definitely understand it. I understand where you're coming from, and I'm glad that you said that. You know what I'm saying? I definitely understand. I think everybody has to be aware of the fact that there is a disconnect, regardless if we created this disconnect, regardless if we, you know what I'm saying, because we know we did it. It was, you know what I'm saying, it was essentially done to us and for us, but there is a disconnect. And hearing, you know what I'm saying, somebody as passionate as you are about Pan-Africanism and bringing everybody back together, hearing you say, you know, yeah, there is a disconnect, but we need to mend that. It gives me a sense of relief and understanding about, you know, saying understanding really how my brothers and sisters feel about the lost ones, us over here. And that's how I'm going to refer to that, you know, because that really does, it makes a difference. So kind of bringing it full circle, kind of, you know, actually one of the last questions I have for you: if you had an opportunity to get a message out to everybody in the world, like say if it was like a text message or, you know, a notification, smoke signal, whatever the hell it is, but it got it to everybody in the world at the same time, what would that message be?
Well, the first message I can say is that we are in the worst mental state in history of African existence. Think about that for a second. We have never been mentally lost like the way we are right now. We are, you know, if you look at the 60s and the, you know, even though in America, uh, people were people were fighting whether we should follow Dr. King integration strategy or we should follow Brother Malcolm's separation strategy. One thing we can all agree is that even though there were, you know, differences, Black people were focused on one thing, and that's freedom. We want freedom. Even here in the continent,
Mm,
in the 60s, uh, uh, everybody wanted freedom from colonial rule. Okay,
for sure.
now, now nobody cares. If listen, if I even here in Kenya, when I talk to my peers, when I talk to no one, absolutely cares. It's scary. We are in our comfort zones right now, and it's scary. And now is when we need to be even more vigilant because the things that are happening and the things that are going to happen, I mean, it's crazy. I was reading an article, and I was it last week? Yeah, I think it was last week. Last week in South Africa, there was a white pastor who was convicted, and he was convicted because he wanted to orchestrate a biological warfare against black people in South Africa. He had plans of poisoning the water and the food of a certain place in South Africa. Thankfully, he was arrested, and thankfully, he was stopped.
That's fucking
Uh,
horrible.
but but there are things under the table that are happening, and because we are too distracted, because we like nobody cares, it's bad. It's bad because listen, the British have been printing our money since for many years, okay?
Hmm.
And whenever a note, which you people call a bill, you know, whenever a bill is produced by the people who print our money, that's a loan that is incurred to the government. Now imagine, now listen, multiply that loan for each and every note, for every day, every month, every quarter, every year, every decade, every half a century. Imagine how much money we owe to the British. It's crazy. And on top of that, we have the Chinese people coming here and basically running our economy. I mean, Africa it's a very beautiful place, but we are in our worst state. And
Mm.
because I'm a Pan African, I always look at Europe, look at what's happening in because I always look at Europe and I always look at the Caribbean. Look at the Caribbean. Look at Haiti. Haiti, which people call Haiti,
Hmm.
you know, tomato, tomato, but it's like uh, the Haiti wanted to be a part of the African Union. Okay, the African Union declined that offer, but the African Union had no problem inviting Israel to be a part of the African Union. Uh, Haiti is what 90% or even more than that African.
More than that, yeah. I dare to say 95, 98%. Yeah, that's wild. I did not know that. That's
Exactly. Yeah. They declined Haiti, but they welcomed Israel.
mm.
That's where we are right now. That's where we are right now, and
We're in an interesting
we
state.
need to have. Yeah, we are. And what happens, and what needs to happen is that, and that's one of my goals. And that's one of my goals when I become successful in this industry. One of the goals is that I need to organize all African people when it comes to economics, and we need to have some sort of a Pan African business league, and
Mm.
this league needs to, uh, uh, yeah, and this league it needs to connect small and medium businesses both in Africa and both in the continent. Because let me tell you, sorry, both in Africa and both in the diaspora. Because let me tell you something. One US dollar is 113 Kenyan shillings. So your dollar is 100% more powerful than my Kenyan shilling.
Mm.
Literally. If you come to Kenya right now, if you come to Kenya right now with the money, because I was reading somewhere, I don't know if this is accurate, but they were saying that the average uh, uh, annual income for a black household is $40,000. That's what they said per year.
Mm.
I don't know if that's true, but if that's true, $40,000 is 40,000 is 4 million Kenya shillings. Literally, if you bring your 40,000 here, you're automatically a millionaire.
Yeah.
4 million you can buy 4 million you can buy a nice house. You can buy acres of land with 4 million in Kenya.
Shit, I need to start. I need to move my money and make it do a little something different, man. But we're definitely and I think that that's a good. This is a good opportunity, actually, a good stopping point to, because I want to, because this is a really interesting conversation. I honestly did not know it was going to go here, and I would like to definitely have you come back on to the podcast to continue this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it is something that you made a good point. If you have a platform, if you have something going on, and if you're not utilizing it, saying, to spread awareness to certain topics, at least the topics that you're passionate about, then it doesn't really make any sense. So I really do, I definitely would like to have you definitely come back onto the podcast so we can continue to have this conversation. But with that, man, it's been an amazing conversation, bro. Like, I really appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, it's really eye opening. Not often do I have the opportunity to speak to African artists, and not just African artists, but somebody who is so passionate about Pan Africanism and bringing it bringing it back full circle. So, like I said, I definitely appreciate you coming on to the show. And if you would please let everybody know where they can follow you and where they can listen to your music.
Absolutely. Well, you can follow me on Instagram, Real Sensical Sense. That is REAL Sensical Sense. And then on Twitter is at Sensical Sense. Uh, my music is everywhere: Spotify, Apple, everywhere. Just type Sensical Sense, and you'll find everything that you need to go. And YouTube also. My visuals are on YouTube, so you can also go there and see my visuals as well. Yeah. Anything else? No, I think that's it for my social media platforms. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I want to
Appreciate
say thank you. Yeah, and I want to say thank you for inviting me. You know, you're a good journalist. You're a good interviewer, and I would love to come back and and we have some more discussion about this because this is crucial.
for
Yeah.
sure. For sure, man. And I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate the love and the kind words. I really appreciate you, man. You be good out there. Definitely stay safe. And I will, like I said, we'll definitely be talking soon again. KluedaDon, Country Fan Mail Podcast, Sensical Sense interview. Thank y'all for tapping in. We out.